This is such a rare occasion, such a rare treat, because you don't do that many interviews. You don't come out of your music studio very often for us to interact like this. Why this time? What was so special about this tour that made you want to go out and speak to everybody about it?
Well, it's I'm going to 2 different cities which I never been before, like Leeds and Manchester, and so every couple of years or every year when I come in, I know that there's a different generation which is nurturing, which is coming up, and there's an evolution of a whole new, probably people following my music, or maybe they're not following, so I need to do more shows.
But what excites you about music even now? I mean, more than 2 decades on from when you began, what is the motivating factor when you get on stage? What keeps you going?
I think music, you're lucky to be in music. I'm definitely blessed that my mother and my father, because of the genetic lottery, she gave us a musical genes to me, and my mother, who pushed me into music, made the choice as a career for me. And because the world is now, when you look at it, this is the only safe place to be, being in music, being in this space where you're just serving. You're serving people by serving yourself.
And do you still feel as gratified, as satisfied making music as you did 2 decades ago?
In fact, it's even more challenging now because I'm also starting to write and produce after 2 decades in probably, mingling with London West End, Andrew Lloyd Webber, Broadway, and then Hollywood now. When I go back, I feel like it's time to do my own thing, my own production or my own vision of a movie where we can go deeper in music, challenge yourself and challenge other people.
Now, you've been a pioneer for the last 15 years, I'd say, a pioneer in the West in terms of putting Indian music as a whole on the global map. Do you take that responsibility seriously, or
No.
you don't? What do you do? Like, when you're given all these accolades, when you're given Oscars and Grammys, when you're given such respect on an international platform, how do you take that in? How do you soak that in?
The good thing is, when I won the Oscars, and when I would ask my agent, Sam Schwartz, says like, I want to meet Michael Jackson. So yeah, sure. I can send an email and see what happens. And I met Michael Jackson. So the power of meeting anybody or even pitching anything is all the doors are open. But it was so open that I got confused. I mean, I was in the midst of such chaos because every way was open. So it took me almost 4 or 5 years to decide what I should be doing after the Oscars.
Do you think that too much fame is a bad thing? I mean, you said by winning the Oscars, you had so many opportunities open to you that it kind of polluted your mind as to where to go.
I think it's a saturation point, right? Because anybody who wins it, because every work you do after that is, this one win an Oscar, or this is it Oscar worthy. So it becomes like people start criticizing like that, but they don't think that music is an art and all these things just follow.
Yeah.
If you do, and if it's about touching the soul, touching human lives, and that's it. For me, it's as simple as that.
But how hard is it for you to stay on the straight and narrow and not be drawn into the fame, not be drawn into the attention, not be drawn into the money as well? Because all these things come part and parcel of your lifestyle.
If you want to be selfish, you can be in this oasis of happiness. I can be in an island, I can be partying. But then when you go back to India, when you go back to my city, Chennai, then I see like musicians are all becoming very old and nobody even teaching the younger generation. So 6 or 8 years back, I started a conservatory to educate, get Western classical, which we use a lot for film scoring.
Right.
And so now we have a mini orchestra, like a chamber orchestra of strings, and then brass section is getting on fast, and we have composers coming out, singers coming out who are getting awards and going out on the world. This makes me motivated to keep running, to keep walking, and be like a pillar for them, so I can facilitate whatever I could do for them.
You're also now a massive inspiration for so many talented young musicians who are aspiring to crack any industry, whether that be Bollywood or South India or wherever. Do you take that responsibility seriously, where you know plenty of people are looking at you as a form of inspiration? How do you want to use that?
I feel like that's a good thing to look up to someone, but then they have to find their own path. It's so important. I can look up to any musician in the West, but then I have to be myself, and that's very important. It's no use me being another John Williams or another Michael Jackson, or So I have to be myself to shine in the world, and that's the very, very important thing. But I'm very deeply moved by the kind things which people say, singers or composers, and I'm inspired. I'm really grateful.
How important is it to you to bring new talents into your music as well?
So what happens to a song? When a song gets popular, it gets consumed a lot. It also has a problem with when you can't do the similar style again, because they say, oh, that sounds like the other song. Like the olden composers, with Naushadji's, every song had a very similar sound. Melodies were different, lyrics were different, but that became a style. But here you are challenged, oh, he's repeating himself, or, all this stuff. Not that I care about it, but in a way it's nudged me to move on and find, more make a larger step in discovering new styles or new singers, or it's all a result of this exploration or search, I would say.
I mean, there's so many singers, whether that's Harshdeep Kaur or Neeti Mohan or the Noora sisters or Benny Dayal and all these people who got showcasing, who got a platform because of you. But in this search to find new stars or new singers, do you feel like you lost a part of your identity in this search to keep moving on? Did you leave your distinctness behind? What do you think?
I don't have any distinctness. It's this quality is probably my inherent in me, probably the search. And sometimes when I need to have a particular singer's expertise, we go back to Lata ji, we go back to Chitra ji, we go back to Udit Narayan, and they're all amazingly, they put the stamp on. Now Shreya Ghoshal has got that kind of thing, Sonu Nigam. So that happens.
For me,
I don't do many movies, so that's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, that's a shame, right? Because for me, like, the 90s is my decade. I grew up in the 90s, and everything from Bombay to Roja to Rangila to Tal, they're all some like Doli Saja Ke Rakhna you did. All of those films, they have such beautiful melodies, and it just doesn't exist anymore. And we have to wait once a year to hear a tamasha or once a year to hear a rock star. Why are you not doing enough films? Why are you not doing more?
The same thing, because after the Oscars, so many doors are open and opportunities don't come. Nobody can do a middle American movie like A Couple's Retreat where Indian composer comes in.
That's true.
I just wanted to have fun. For 3 years or 4 years, I took a sabbatical, and I did non-Indian movies, I would say. So I did Pele, and then I did The Messenger of God. And, People Like Us, 127 hours. And it makes me feel good that you're not typecasted as a composer or Indian composer, or you should be a composer. And of course, I'm proud of being called an Indian composer, but I also want to feel like I should liberate myself if I want to do something.
Did you find it hard to become A.R. Rahman, the celebrity? Because look, even 10 years ago, let's talk about like when Lagan released and things like that. You weren't doing interviews like this. You used to stay far, far away from the media. We only used to see you at award shows or every now and then where the cameras caught you. Did it take time becoming a media-friendly celebrity as such?
I think it's important now to show by talking or by being an artist, by expressing what you're expressing. It's very, very important to come out, because then people forget you.
Yeah.
And also a reminder to people that people can exist like this, and following a path of peace and love, and it's not hard to love everyone.
Now, 2009 was the major breakthrough year. It was where everything changed, not just for you, but for India as an industry. It was put on a global map, and many people thought that people like yourself, people like Anil Kapoor, would open doors for several more talent in the West. That's happened in acting. We've got Priyanka and Deepika over there. But in music, it hasn't quite worked out the same way. You are still the dominating composer to work in the West. Why? Why do you think more people aren't crossing over?
To work in the West, I think the system is different, and you have to sacrifice a lot.
Right.
Even if you achieve the pinnacle of, all the aura and all the stuff you have to drop it all, because when it comes to working in Hollywood, they can fire anyone. So I think this is the aspect which I don't think people who are pampered a lot in India would accept.
Right. So they like being treated like kings.
Yeah, absolutely. In there, I think, and music would probably be the last thing for people to get somebody. And for me, I think I'm used to it because I've been working in the West almost from '96, from Deepa Mehta's movie in Toronto, and then West End with Andrew, and so I'm quite used to what would define me or what I should do, and what kind of sacrifices you have to make.
Absolutely.
To make it work.
Absolutely. And you've made plenty of those sacrifices and they've worked out very, very well. Finally then, I came to your show at the O2 last year and I thought it was outstanding. I thought the production was outstanding. I thought the range in vocalists, the stage production. How do you go beyond that? How do you make this tour bigger and better?
It's the music, actually. What are you responding? You're responding to the tunes you've grown up with, the nostalgia, the memories, and of course all the quality of the lights and production is all there. But I always feel that even if there's nothing, and if you just take a mic and have a keyboard and we sing, it'll definitely engage you because you're coming for that.
Absolutely.
And that's one thing I realized, that having this humongous production, wasting money, not wasting money, I would say, is a bit over the top. And then we decided to make this as an intimate tour where intimacy is with the band. You literally you just wink at them and they stop, and you just click and then they start. And so it is musically, I think I feel much more satisfied working with this band for the past 2 years. Now we did like 18 gigs in the US, and people are pretty satisfied.
Brilliant. Well, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm hoping some of my favourite songs will be performed this time because you left them out last time.
What are the ones?
I wanted Hamma Hamma, which I didn't get, and I love Kya Kare Kya Na Kare from Rangila. So those were my two.
It'll be endless then. I'll have to do a 5-hour show if I had to satisfy all of you.
It's all right. It's okay. I'll listen to those on my way to the concert and then listen to whatever you have to offer there.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.